Chair recognizes the Senator from Woodbury, Senator Drey. For what purpose do you seek the floor, Senator?
Madam President, am I in order for a point of personal privilege?
You are in order.
I'm going to take a few minutes today to be very direct and candid about something personal and political. In early December, after about a year of irregular periods and checkups with both my doctor and my gynecologist, I had a cervical biopsy done in office. The results showed irregularities, which led to a hysteroscopy and a D&C. The tissue was sent to pathology. The results came back as stage 1 uterine cancer. 5 days before the session started, I met with a gynecological oncologist. The recommended treatment plan starts with a hysterectomy tomorrow. I'll be hospitalized at least overnight, and during the surgery, they'll evaluate lymph nodes and do further pathology to determine whether additional surgery, chemotherapy, radiation will be necessary. Here's the good news, and it is genuinely good news. I had my first ever CT scan and everything came back clear. There's no indication that the cancer has spread, and I am grateful for that. I'm also clear-eyed about why that matters so much, because early detection saves lives, and access to routine screenings determines who gets it. Right now, I am mostly in logistics mode: appointments, recovery timelines, calendars. The expectation is that I'll be back on the Senate floor as soon as I am able. The biggest complication is that I'm not able to drive for 3 weeks after surgery. But because you are never too old to need your mom, mine will be here to chauffeur me around, and if you all can recommend some good pickleball spots for her in between committee meetings, we will both be grateful. My inability to sit still comes from a long line of active and determined women. The diagnosis is not a resignation, it is not a retreat, it is a medical interruption, and I intend to move through it and get back to work. I do want to talk about why I'm being fully transparent about this, from diagnosis to treatment to side effects to cost. The irony of being elected because my predecessor passed away from this horrible disease is not lost on me. Ignoring the environment that Senator DeWitt and I shared is a disservice to our constituents. Silence is what perpetuates bad systems. While I was getting that CT scan, the nurse who checked me in and started my IV told me she recognized me. She has been a nurse for 40 years. She was calm, competent, kind, and exactly the type of professional you hope is on the other side of a needle. She said a prayer for me while I was there. She also told me about her sister who was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. Because of the end of healthcare subsidies for marketplace policies, her sister's monthly premium went from $500 for 2 adults to $2,750, more than 2 times the average rent in Iowa, while actively undergoing cancer treatment. That nurse has spent 4 decades taking care of other people, and now her family is being crushed by a system that treats illness as a personal failure instead of a predictable part of being human. That is not a side story, that is the whole story. I have access to excellent doctors. I was able to get imaging quickly. I have insurance. I don't have to worry about how to pay my bills. I have people who can drive me, cover childcare, and fill the gaps while I recover. Many Iowans do not have that full stack of support, which is why I refuse to be quiet about this. We live in Iowa, unfortunately, the cancer capital of the country, and yet we continue to tolerate policies that make early detection harder, treatment more expensive, and recovery more precarious. We moralize illness, we nickel and dime care, and then act shocked when outcomes are worse. This diagnosis did not come out of nowhere for me. Given my family history and the environment in which I live, it felt less like a remote possibility and more like a foregone conclusion. Every provider I've met with has said, "You're so young," while scrolling through my chart. And I think what they really mean underneath that is, how does this keep happening? I am not interested in pretending this is just a private medical matter. It is a public policy failure playing out in my body. I'm going to be transparent, not because I owe anyone my vulnerability, but because sunlight is a tool and I intend to use every tool available to me. I will share what treatment looks like, what recovery looks like, what it costs, what insurance covers, and what it doesn't. Silence is how bad systems survive. I didn't choose this diagnosis. I do have the liberty to choose what I do with it. And what I'm choosing is to stay elbows out, clear-eyed, and exactly as present as I can be. The people we represent don't get to step away from broken healthcare systems when things get hard, so neither will I. I appreciate professionalism and respect as I move through this treatment and recovery. I appreciate accommodations where they're necessary, but do not mistake this diagnosis for weakness. My first priority after beating this horrible disease will be taking care of my constituents in Senate District 1. I will be available as available as I am now. I want them to know what care and a treatment plan can look like and what hopefully the other end of this diagnosis can look like. I'll be back ready to continue the important work at hand. Thank you.